Giannis' situation in Milwaukee is probably short-term.
Briefly engaged in trade talks with the Knicks this summer about a potential deal for two-time MVP Giannis.
I'm locked into whatever I have in front of me. Now, if in 6-7 months I change my mind, I think that's human too.
We need to talk about what's happening in Milwaukee right now, because if you've been following the Giannis situation, you already know alarm bells should be screaming all across Wisconsin. Giannis just said it again. That same statement, the one that instantly makes every Bucks fan's heart drop. But this time, it actually feels different. After everything that's gone down this offseason, with reports of the Knicks trying to get in his ear, with Milwaukee's roster looking shakier than ever, the situation is starting to feel like a ticking time bomb. Now imagine this. It's July 2025. The Bucks just got bounced in the first round for the third straight year. Damian Lillard, their supposed championship co-star, tore his Achilles in Game 4 against the Pacers. That alone is heartbreaking. Dame fought through a blood clot scare, came back on one leg, and still tried to push Milwaukee forward, but his body just gave out. Brutal. But what happened next? That's where it gets insane. Instead of waiting to see if Dame could recover, instead of giving him a chance to heal and return later in the season, the Bucks made one of the most shocking moves of the entire offseason. They waived him. They literally used the stretch provision to spread out his remaining $113 million over 5 years. Why? To clear cap space and sign Miles Turner on a 4-year, $70 million deal. Now, don't get me wrong. Turner is good. He just helped the Pacers reach the NBA Finals, averaging 15.6 points, 6.5 rebounds, and 2 blocks, while shooting nearly 40% from 3. The guy can defend, he can stretch the floor, and he's one of only 4 players in the league last season to post 100-plus blocks, 100-plus threes, and 50-plus steals. That's rare, and exactly the kind of player you'd want next to Giannis. But here's the problem. The Bucks didn't just lose a role player. They lost their second-best creator. Damian Lillard averaged nearly 25 points and 7 assists per game, and was one of the most clutch guards in the league. You can't just replace that production with a center and expect the same results. This wasn't a win-now move. It was a sideways move at best. And with over $22 million in dead cap from Dame's stretched contract sitting on the books for 5 years, Milwaukee just made it a whole lot harder to build a real contender around Giannis. Fast forward to September 29th. It's Bucks Media Day, and Giannis, still stuck in Greece recovering from COVID, joins the session over Zoom. Reporters ask him the usual questions, but one answer sends shockwaves through the NBA world. Giannis says, "I want to be on a team that allows me and gives me a chance to win a championship. I think it's a disservice to basketball, to the game, to not want to compete at a high level, to want your season to end in April." Now, Bucks fans might shrug this off at first. After all, Giannis has said similar things before. In 2020 and 2023, he dropped cryptic quotes like this right before signing max extensions. And both times, fans panicked, then exhaled when he stayed. In 2021, that faith was rewarded when Giannis delivered one of the greatest finals performances ever, 35 points per game and a championship for Milwaukee. But here's the thing. This time feels different. Because now we have receipts. Real evidence that Giannis wasn't just thinking about leaving. He actually talked to the Bucks about it. There were genuine trade discussions, and when NBA insider Shams dropped the story earlier this week, the entire league froze. For the first time in years, it's not just speculation. Giannis's future in Milwaukee might actually be hanging by a thread.
They were serious simply for the facts that sources told me the New York Knicks emerged as the team in August that Giannis Antetokounmpo wanted to play for if he were to be traded outside of Milwaukee, if these two sides could reach agreement on a deal. And so the Bucks also picked up that phone call that the Knicks made. And I was told essentially from one source that this was an exclusive negotiating window that the Knicks had over multiple weeks. In August, Leon Rose, the Knicks president, called John Horst, the Bucks general manager. These sides had multiple conversations, offers were made, but there are two sides to this. The Bucks, I'm told, believe that the Knicks did not even offer a deal strong enough to continue these conversations. The Knicks believe, I'm told, that the Bucks never seriously considered a trade of Giannis Antetokounmpo, and this all stems from the facts that Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Bucks still believe, is a guy that can help them right now win a championship. They still want to win with Giannis Antetokounmpo. That's what I'm told.
In late July, Bucks GM John Horst flew all the way to Athens, Greece, to meet Giannis face-to-face. This was right after Milwaukee waived Damian Lillard and signed Miles Turner, two moves that completely shifted the franchise's direction. Horst tried to sell Giannis on his vision, saying, "We've got Miles. We can still compete for a championship in the East." On paper, maybe that sounded convincing. After all, the Pacers had just lost Tyrese Halliburton to a torn Achilles, and the Celtics had blown up their core, sending Jrue Holiday to Portland and Kristaps Porzingis to Atlanta. Even Jason Tatum's status was uncertain after his Achilles injury. The East looked wide open. At least, that's what Horst was hoping Giannis would believe. But Giannis wasn't buying it. According to multiple reports, he voiced real doubts about Milwaukee's direction and wanted to explore alternative paths, not just for himself, but for the franchise's long-term success. And then came the bombshell. Shams revealed that during internal discussions, one team emerged as Giannis's preferred destination if he were to leave: the New York Knicks. Madison Square Garden, the biggest stage in basketball, Giannis had reportedly given them the green light. For a brief stretch in August, the Bucks and Knicks held what was described as an exclusive negotiation window, but talks never advanced. The Bucks didn't believe New York's offer was strong enough, while the Knicks felt Milwaukee wasn't serious about trading their franchise icon, the man who ended a 50-year title drought. And truthfully, both sides had a point. New York's flexibility was limited after giving up 5 first-round picks for Mikal Bridges and signing him to a massive extension. Eventually, the discussions fizzled out. By late August, the Bucks re-signed Giannis's brothers to one-year deals, an emotional move that helped calm the waters. But make no mistake, Giannis is keeping his options open. If Milwaukee stumbles early, everything could change in an instant. So now, we have to talk about the elephant in the room. Can the Milwaukee Bucks actually compete for a championship right now? Because at the end of the day, that's the only thing Giannis cares about. He's 30 years old, turning 31 in December, right in the heart of his prime. This isn't the stage of his career where he can afford to waste another season on a team that's just okay. Giannis wants to win now, not in 2 or 3 years. And looking at Milwaukee's current roster, that goal feels like it's slipping further away. Let's start with what they do have. Giannis is still one of the best players on the planet. He just averaged 30.4 points, 11.9 rebounds, and 6.5 assists last season. He's a 9-time All-Star, a 2-time MVP, and has been first-team All-NBA for 7 straight years. He's a walking 30-point double-double, a wrecking ball in transition, and arguably the most dominant force since Shaq. No one questions Giannis's greatness. But the problem is, basketball isn't a one-man sport. They added Miles Turner, a player who theoretically fits well next to Giannis. Turner can space the floor, protect the rim, and hold his own defensively. Doc Rivers even said that if he could design the perfect modern big to pair with Giannis, it would look exactly like Turner. But here's where things start to crumble. Who's creating offense for this team? They brought back Bobby Portis, Kevin Porter Jr., Gary Trent Jr., and Taurean Prince. Solid names on paper, but none of them are proven secondary creators. Gary Trent can shoot the lights out, but he's not a playmaker. Kevin Porter Jr. has potential, but he's more of a project. Portis brings energy and toughness, but he's not that second star who can take pressure off Giannis in the playoffs. And that's what this team desperately needs. Someone who can close games. Someone defenses fear when Giannis gets double-teamed. That's what Damian Lillard used to bring before injuries, and the stretch provision fiasco changed everything. Now, Milwaukee is trying to convince themselves that the Eastern Conference is wide open. Sure, Boston lost Jason Tatum to a torn Achilles, and Tyrese Halliburton is out for the year after his injury in the finals. Those are massive blows. But just because the Celtics and Pacers are weaker doesn't suddenly make the Bucks title favorites. Two teams are standing directly in their path, the New York Knicks and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Let's start with New York, the team Giannis has reportedly shown the most interest in. The Knicks are coming off an Eastern Conference Finals run and look loaded. Karl Anthony Towns just had a career season, that's averaging 25 points and 14 rebounds while shooting over 43% from three. Jalen Brunson has become one of the best guards in basketball, putting up 26 points and 7 assists per game while shooting efficiently. Then there's Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, and Josh Hart, a trio of versatile wings who can defend, shoot, and play multiple roles. Add veterans like Malcolm Brogdon and Jordan Clarkson for bench firepower, and you've got a team that's deep, balanced, and built to win now. With Mike Brown at the helm, this Knicks team plays with intensity and identity. Can the Bucks realistically beat them in a 7-game series? Honestly, it's hard to see it. Then there's Cleveland, who quietly finished with the best record in the East last year, 64 wins. Donovan Mitchell put up 24 points per game, Darius Garland added 20 and 6 assists, and Evan Mobley won Defensive Player of the Year. Even after falling short in the second round, their core is young, talented, and improving. They've now added Lonzo Ball as a backup, who's reportedly looking sharp in camp. They have chemistry, coaching stability, and a roster that's both deep and dynamic. The Cavs are built for the long haul, and it's fair to question whether the current Bucks squad can hang with them in a playoff series. So where does that leave Milwaukee? The reality is, they're a team with one generational superstar, a good center, and a handful of quality role players. That's not a championship formula. That's a middle-of-the-pack playoff team, dangerous enough to scare opponents, but not good enough to win it all. And the front office knows it. The situation gets even messier when you look at their future assets. The Bucks don't own their own first-round pick in 2025 and won't control one until 2031. They have no real cap space thanks to Dame's stretched contract, and their trade assets are basically non-existent beyond Giannis himself. So if this team underperforms again, what's the path to improvement? There isn't one. That's why Giannis's patience might finally be wearing thin. He's always been loyal. He's always said the right things. Milwaukee drafted him 15th overall back in 2013, nurtured him, built around him, and won a title with him in 2021. There's deep loyalty there. But that loyalty has limits. His family recently moved back to Athens, Greece, a subtle but telling sign that his long-term future in Milwaukee might not be set in stone. He's seen this story before. LeBron had to leave Cleveland to win. Kevin Durant left OKC. Even Kawhi left Toronto after winning a championship. Loyalty doesn't always lead to legacy, and Giannis knows it. He's already given Milwaukee everything: 2 MVPs, a title, a decade of dominance. But at 31, he's running out of time to chase another ring. And that's why his reported interest in New York is so significant. The Knicks offer everything Milwaukee doesn't: the biggest market, a global stage, a contender-level roster, and the chance to bring a championship to the most starved fan base in basketball. For a player like Giannis, who's already proven he can win, New York represents something bigger. It's not just about rings, it's about legacy. Now, would the Bucks actually trade him? If Giannis formally requests it, they might not have a choice. You can't risk losing a superstar of his caliber for nothing. The Knicks, meanwhile, would need to get creative. They don't have a treasure chest of picks left after trading for Bridges, but they could still put together a package built around Karl Anthony Towns, role players, and whatever draft capital they can muster. It would take a Godfather offer, but for Giannis, it might just be worth it. So here's what to watch moving forward. If the Bucks stumble early, say, sitting around 500 by January, the noise will be deafening. Every loss will spark rumors. Every frustrated expression from Giannis will turn into a viral screenshot. If things don't change by the trade deadline, don't be surprised if the rumors explode. But if the Bucks somehow overachieve, if Miles Turner truly becomes Brook Lopez 2.0, if Gary Trent or Kevin Porter Jr. steps up as that reliable number 2 option, then maybe Milwaukee can buy itself another year. But if not, expect the summer of 2026 to be chaos. The Knicks will reload. The Lakers, with LeBron's contract expiring, will enter the sweepstakes, and the league's next great power shift could be on the horizon. Because no matter how you slice it, the Bucks are trapped between the past and the future, clinging to what they once were while knowing what's coming. And Giannis? He's just waiting to see how long he can keep believing in Milwaukee before it's finally time to move on.